we're going to explain the shoulder press machine here. I really like this machine. I've used it a lot in my life. It's been a while since I've had access to one. I left Lifetime a long time ago. So we can adjust our seat from right here. Now, I like my hands to really kind of be about right here, especially for a beginner person. I don't think you need to be, like, if it were me in my own training session, because I've been doing this so long, I would like a good amount of stretch. I would want it to be here. But that's because I have a lot of control and I've done this repetition so much. So as a beginner, I think that you can maybe have this, right at your shoulder or above your shoulder, and maybe the lower, the less amount of experience and practice you have in lifting in general, the higher you should probably start out. You know what I mean? If you're like never lifted before, elderly, you got shoulder issues, I would maybe even start out at the very bottom, so that way you have the least amount of range of motion as possible. And then over the course of time, start going higher and higher, so that way this stretch gets greater and greater. So you get a little bit more out of the movement. Okay? Now this is training the front of your shoulders or your delts. All right? And they're training it by going overhead. Okay? So you're specifically getting stronger at pressing things over your head. And we have two grips here. Okay? We have our neutral grip, and then we have our pronated grip. Again, pronated grip, palms forward. Neutral grip, palms facing together like you're clapping your hands. All right? Neutral grip is what I recommend for the beginners to start out until you get comfortable with the machine. It encourages your elbows to stay more tucked into your body, so it kind of protects your shoulders a little bit more. As you get more experienced, you can get and play around with these pronated grips, and they're going to get a little bit more of the shoulder to be biased and to be stimulated. So you eventually want to end up here. Now, what I would say is that as you continue to get better, something to strive for as far as positioning is that you'll see that my elbows are kind of out wide. All right. Now, the machine sort of encourages something that I wouldn't do if I were using dumbbells. But what I try to do is make sure that my elbows don't go behind my hand, but I want my elbows to stay almost directly under my hand the entire time. Because if my elbow is directly under my hand, then that means that I'm having the least amount of waste. Because if you put weight in your hand and you put your hand away from your elbow, it's so hard to lift that. Okay, but if your hand's right above your elbow, it's way easier to hold on to a weight or to lift more weight. So it's no different whenever you're doing the machines. So don't make sure that your elbows aren't like away from your hands, either direction. Hands right or elbows right under the hands is going to be your strongest positioning and safest positioning. Okay. Beginners, 15 to 25 controlled reps. If you go super slow, if you're one of those people that does like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I wouldn't do 25. I would do maybe like 12 to 15. But as you get more experience and confidence, start going heavier and heavier and lowering the reps. Strength and muscle builders need to be doing, anywhere from 5 and 6 up to that 15 range and even into the 20 range. So don't be shy. Just kind of over the year cycle. Some weeks do 20, some weeks do 15, some weeks do 8. And then over the course of the year, your body's exposed to all of it. And that way your body's ready to handle just about anything you could possibly do as far as this specific motion. So that's the shoulder press, and that's how you're going to train your shoulders, your front delts.